So I've given it a little bit of thought about how I was planning on, recording a video like this, especially whenever I don't necessarily have editing software. So that makes things a little bit more difficult. But um, I figured in the meantime, uh, how about we go on to our first story time type of video? And I don't think that there's a better place to start, at least for me, uh, than to talk about this right here. Uh, None other than Devil May Cry 3. Give or take, the special edition. But I don't remember what year I had started actually playing the game. Uh, it was years ago, uh, back whenever, you know, I initially had the PlayStation 2. And I wish I could remember how I ended up with a copy of Devil May Cry 3 because my brother and I, we shared the PlayStation 2 and we had ended up with our mom's husband at the time, his game collection. Because he had, gone upward to get the PS3. So I guess it had to have been like 2006 ish, roughly. But I remember us having, the PS2, and we had games like, SSX Tricky, Tony Hawk's Underground 1 and 2, American Wasteland, a couple Tomb Raider games. I'm sure there were others, like some wrestling, and I want to say a couple Need for Speed games, at least that I can remember. Oh, and Star Wars Battlefront. But at some point along the line, it, we ended up with a copy of Devil May Cry 3, or more so, I ended up with it because my brother never played it. And this would go on to be the game that I would revisit probably, at least at that point in my life, probably once a week. And over the course of time, I was trying to think of the best way to explain what the game did so well that it deserved to be replayed. I think the best way I can word it is there was an amazing cast of characters. There was amazing storytelling, and yeah, it's very much out there in terms of like it's very over the top. It's very corny, or maybe not corny, but cheesy. But it it kind of shaped overall like my level of humor, and I guess the best way I can word it is it had kind of shaped it, like an overall outlook on life because Dante, he didn't take anything seriously. He was just there doing his thing and that was it. And I'm not saying that I'm completely inspired by that, but I think that it had an effect on me as far as like not to take everything seriously. Now, this game specifically, it it's one that I've gone back to replay time and time again. And I don't think that it anytime that I've revisited this game, I don't think that it's necessarily let me down ever. I mean, maybe if I were playing on, Dante Must Die, that'd be a different story, but um, it it is very much a special place in my heart kind of game. Like I I don't know any other way to necessarily cover uh, this game specifically. At least not without not without actually having footage that I wish I could put, like, right here, or I wish I could add, like, the soundtrack, but I don't necessarily have anything that I could, add anything into. But the the overall message that I'm trying to get across is the fact that it's just one of those games that no matter how many times that I would go on to actually, talk about it, whether it be with friends, with, I guess technically just people that I, talk to online, whatever, or regardless of how often I would happen to upload here, it's always going to be a mainstay for me. And I think that there's probably at least like 15 games that I have that are just like that. But they're all ranked very much in the same way, at least in my opinion. But I think overall, it's a game that I try to recommend to most people, especially because, like, in times like what we're in right now, where everything seems very bleak, it's almost nice to go back to a time where it almost felt like everything was a lot more fun. And yeah, nostalgia can definitely take an effect. I'm not going to doubt that one bit. But I think that there's almost like an innate effect that this game actually has to get you to, kind of, I'm trying to think of the best way to word it, but it almost has this innate ability to get you to not take things seriously. Which I feel like there's a lot of people that probably could benefit from that. But I think with that being said, I believe that's pretty much it for this video. So, thanks for tuning in. See you guys on the next one.